Welcome back to Driven Daily. If you were excited about the CRX build earlier in the season, I have some bad news for you. I haven't touched it since that last video. After missing the first two 2016 hill climb events, I wouldn't have had enough points to compete for the season anyway. So, instead of thrashing that together, I started preparations for 2017. The first step in those preparations was to chase the mice out of my 1975 Datsun 280Z and cut everything I didn't need away. Selling the Miata I had raced through 2014 and 2015 freed up enough funds to take the car to a professional fabricator. I wanted to be as prepared as possible before dropping it off, so the doors, interior, windows, hatch, body panels, everything came off, and I removed as much rust as I could. My friend Dave brought his trailer over to help transport it up to the fabricator, and I worked on other projects for a while. As is so often the case, things didn't go according to plan. When the cage was finished, the main hoop was a little too far forward, which meant the seat was a little too far forward. In a tiny, cramped cockpit like this, that meant I couldn't get in or out of the car. The cage had to come out. My friend Mike and I spent a weekend separating the body from the cage to start over from scratch. The result was the barest shell I've ever seen. We added some basic reinforcement to the body to keep it from collapsing on itself, and committed to building a new tube frame. For projects of this scope, a chassis table is essential. It provides a reliable reference point to measure against when placing pieces of tubing where you think they should go. I spent some time building the table, we loaded the car onto it, and quickly realized there was a problem. Our welder was on the other side of the room, and there were no outlets anywhere near the car. I sourced some heavy-duty casters, my friend Lori made some mounting plates, and I got back to work. After a lot more trial and error than I'm comfortable with admitting, we figured out how to level the table, and we were ready to load the body back onto it. With the body back on the table, and the table now mobile, we could start moving some of the body reinforcement around a little bit and finish the last step of prep work. The last chunk of prep work was to elevate the car to ride height, relative to the chassis table. For the front, I had already fabricated a very basic jig that mounted to the stock door mounts. And again, with the help of some friends, that mounted up beautifully. The rear was a little more difficult, so we just found a pile of 2x4s to shove under it and hold it in place temporarily. So we finished week 1 with the car roughly at ride height and ready to hit the ground running for week 2. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to catch next week's episode.